Hello, my name is Kathy Gurman, and I am an auditor with AFSCME's Audit Department. This presentation is designed to help you fill out your local union annual financial report. The local union annual financial report, we call it LUFR for short, is an annual report required by Article 6, Section 12 of AFSCME's Constitution. If your local operates on a calendar year, that means you start your books at January 1st and end on December 31st. The report is due no later than May 15th each year. If your local has a fiscal period other than a calendar year, your report must be filed within 4.5 months after the end of your fiscal year. If you're a new Secretary-Treasurer, this presentation will help you fill out your annual LUFR. The first 2 pages of the LUFR are a series of questions and answers. The third page of the LUFR is your annual statement of receipts and disbursements. And the fourth page of the LUFR is your beginning of the year and end of the year bank account balances, investment balances, and debts outstanding. Okay, let's start with page 1, part 1, general. In 1A, we want your local union number. So you want to print your local union number here. In our sample, we will enter local number 9999. 1B, are you affiliated with a council? If your local belongs to a council, print your council number here. In our sample, we will enter council number 250. 1C, current number of members. Estimate your current number of members. In our sample, we will enter 123 members. 1D, what is your employer identification number? Print your employer identification number here. Every local union must have an employer identification number. In our sample, the EIN number is 51-2345678. 1E, local union name. Print your local name here. For example, AFSCME Local 1234. Our sample local name is Public Employees of DC. At 1F, street address or post office box number. If your local has an office or post office box, print the street address or post office box number here. If the local does not have an office and mail is sent to the officer's home address, print the officer's street address here. Our sample street address is 16 Union Road. 1G, city. Print your city here. Our sample city is Washington. 1H, state. Print your state here. Our sample state is DC. 1I, zip code. Print your zip code here. Our sample zip code is 20036. Now let's go down to 2 under general. Print the name and address, personal cell phone number including area code, daytime phone number including area code, and email address of the person who has custody of the financial records. Usually this is the Secretary-Treasurer. In our sample, the name is Alice Snow, Secretary-Treasurer. Alice's address is 12 National Drive, Washington, D.C., 20003. Alice's personal cell phone number is 202-123-4567. And the daytime phone number where Alice can be reached is 202-936-1212. Alice's personal email address in our sample is asnow@gmail.com. Now you will answer a series of questions on page 1 and page 2 of the LUFR. Our first question is going to be about chapters. Question 3, does your local have chapters? Check yes or no. If you check yes, Please tell us how many chapters you have and also attach a list of your chapters with their locations and the names of the chapter chairpersons. Our sample local does not have any chapters, so the no box is checked. Questions 4 and 5 are about your local's expenditures or spending during the past year. Question 4, do you require 2 officer signatures on all checks? Answer yes or no. Since AFSCME's Financial Standards Code requires 2 officer signatures on all checks, our sample form checks the yes box. Question 5. Does your local have a petty cash fund? Answer yes or no. If yes, what is the maximum petty cash fund? Print the maximum dollar amount of your petty cash fund here. Our sample local does have a petty cash fund, so the yes box is checked. The maximum fund that they keep in their petty cash fund is $50. Reporting. Questions 6 through 9 are about your local's reporting. Question 6. Does your local prepare a written monthly financial report? Answer yes or no. Monthly written financial reports are required, so the yes box is checked. If your answer to question 6 is yes, please attach a copy of your most recent monthly financial report. Question 7. Does your local have employees and pay salaries, or do they pay allowances, lost time, or reimburse dues to their officers? Answer yes or no. Payments to officers are taxable W-2 payments and require the local to file payroll tax forms and withhold payroll taxes. You cannot use IRS Form 1099 to report undocumented payments to officers. Our sample local does not pay their officers, so they check the no box. If your answer is yes, please check the boxes of the payroll forms that you file. IRS Form 940 is due annually, IRS Form 941 is due quarterly, and IRS Form W-2 is also due annually. Remember, if you pay your officers an allowance, stipend, lost time, or reimbursed dues, you are required to withhold a minimum of 7.65% to cover their Social Security and Medicare taxes, file quarterly IRS 941 forms, annual IRS 940 forms, annual W-2 forms, and any required state and local payroll tax forms. Question 8. Do you annually file IRS Form 990, 990Z, or 990N? Answer yes or no. Remember, all AFSCME locals are required to file annually with the IRS. If you do not file for 3 consecutive years, your exempt status will be revoked and you may be subject to late filing penalties. The correct answer for number 8 is yes. Question 9. Are any of your dues-paying members private sector employees? Answer yes or no. Our sample local does not have any private sector employees, so they check box no for question 9. If you answer yes, do you file an annual LM form with the Department of Labor? Answer yes or no. All locals with private sector employees are required to file annual LM forms. Okay, let's continue on to political contributions reporting, questions 10 through 13. Question 10, does your local make political contributions? Answer yes or no. If your answer is no, you can skip questions 11 through 13 and continue with question 14. Our sample local does not make political contributions, so they correctly answer no to question 10 and skip down to question 14. But if your answer is yes on question 11, we want to know what your total contributions were during the last calendar year. Write the dollar amount here. Question 12, does your local use a separate segregated fund for making those political contributions? Answer yes or no. And question 13, is your local aware of the filing requirements for IRS Form 1120 POL? Answer yes or no. If your local makes political contributions and does not maintain a separate segregated fund, you may be subject to filing IRS Form 1120 POL and paying taxes. Okay, now we're going to continue on with questions 14 through 16, which are about your local's audit process. Remember to attach a copy of your last audit report, including any trustee's report. Question 14, how often does your local have an audit? Print the frequency of your audits here. Our sample local has an annual audit, so they enter annually for question 14. Question 15, are audit findings reported to the membership? Answer yes or no. In our sample local, the answer to question 15 is yes. Remember, all audit findings must be reported to your executive board and membership. Question 16, who performs these audits? Check the appropriate box. Is it your trustees, a CPA, or a public accountant? The trustees of our sample local perform their annual audit, so the trustees box is checked. If someone other than the trustees, CPA or a public accountant, is performing your annual audit, please list that person or persons under Other. Now let's continue down to Part 2 dues, questions 1 through 6. Question 1, if you have a fixed dues rate, what is your current monthly rate for full-time and part-time members? The full-time dues rate for our sample local is $40. The part-time dues rate for our sample local is $30. Question 2, if your local has a percentage dues rate, what is your current percentage? Also, we want to know what your average monthly dues rate is per member. Question 3, if you have some other dues structure, check here and attach an explanation. Question 4, do you receive your dues check from the employer or from the council? Check the appropriate box. Our sample local receives their local union rebate from their council, so they check the council box. Question 5, does your local receive dues or fees from agency shop, fair share, or union shop payers? Check the appropriate box. Our sample local has agency shop members, so they check the yes box. Question 6, do you expect a significant increase or decrease in members and/or agency shop or fair share fee payers in the next 12 months? If so, please estimate the increase/decrease below. If you are not expecting an increase or decrease, leave question 6 under Part 2 dues blank. Our sample local estimates an increase in dues paying members for 2018 of 25 members, so they check the increase box, and under the estimate box they enter 25. Part 3, financial statements, page 3, your statement of receipts and disbursements. If your local has a CPA or public accountant, their annual financial statement can be substituted for page 3 and 4 of the local union annual financial report. The local still must complete pages 1 and 2, and the local president and secretary-treasurer must sign and date page 4. If the local is using QuickBooks for their accounting, instead of filling out page 3, they should print out a profit and loss report from January 1 through December 31st if they have a calendar year. Write "See attached" on page 3 and attach a copy of that report. If the local is using an Excel spreadsheet or some other software package, they should print out their annual totals by category of income and expenses. Write "See attached" on page 3 and attach a copy of that report. If the local is maintaining their books in a manual cash book, they will need to add the income and expense categories for each of the 12 months and enter those totals on page 3. If the categories listed on page 3 do not agree with your local's categories of income and expenses, just cross them out and enter your local's income and expense categories. Okay, let's start with your local's receipts for last year. All your deposits to all of your accounts. Our sample local enters $9,480 under line 2, local share of dues forwarded directly from the council. Under line 4, our sample local enters other receipts of $340. These are the only income items for our sample local. Line 5 adds line 1 through 4 and enters the total on line 5. Our sample local receipts for the year total $9,820 on line 5. If you're filling out the online form, you will notice the form totals line 1 through 4 for you and enters the number on line 5. If you are manually filling out the form, you will need to total lines 1 through 4 and enter that total on line 5. Now you will enter your disbursements for the prior year. Under line 6, our sample local made payments to other labor bodies during the year totaling $200. Remember, if you do not receive dues checks directly from your employer, you will not enter anything under line 6, per capita tax paid directly by the local to international and council. Under line 7, our sample local paid AFSCME $100 for their annual surety bond premium. Under line 13, our sample local reimbursed officers' expenses of $850. Under line 16, our sample local paid rent and utilities of $4,200. Under line 17, our sample local paid for printing and copying, totaling $750. Under line 18, our sample local paid for office supplies, totaling $800. And under line 19, all other disbursements of our sample local totaled $900. Line 20, add lines 6 through 19 and enter the total on line 20. The disbursements of our sample local for the year, line 20, totaled $7,800. You will notice that on the online form, it's totaling lines 6 through 19 for you and entering the amount on line 20. If you're filling the form out manually, you need to add lines 6 through 19 and enter that total on line 20. Line 21 subtracts line 20 total disbursements from line 5 total receipts, and the total is entered on line 21. If line 5 is greater than line 20, your local has an excess for the year. If line 5 is less than line 20, then your local has a deficit for the year. The line 21 amount for our sample local is an excess of $2,020. The online form is calculating this number for you. Now we have finished recording our receipts and disbursements from the prior year, and we will continue to page 4 of the LUFR. Page 4 is your statement of assets owned and debts outstanding, or liabilities. Before you start filling out page 4, we recommend you reconcile all your bank accounts through December 31st for calendar year-end locals. Line 22. Enter the bank name, account number, and reconcile balance at the beginning and ending of your fiscal year. If you're a calendar year-end local, you will record your reconcile balances as of January 1st and December 31st. List all of your checking, savings, and trust accounts. In column A, you're going to record your January 1st reconcile balances for calendar year-end locals. And in column B, you're going to record your December 31st reconcile balances for calendar year-end locals. If you don't have room to enter all of your bank accounts, you can attach an additional page or pages and write "See attached" under Cash in Banks. Our sample locals checking account is at First National Bank of D.C. The account number is 200-7581. The reconcile balance as of January 1st is $642, and that number goes under column A. And the December 31st reconcile balance is $932, and that number goes under column B. Our sample local also has a savings account at First National Bank of D.C. The account number for the savings account is 200-7684. The January 1st reconcile balance for the savings account is $1,340. That number goes under column A. The December 31st reconcile balance of the savings account is $3,070, and that number goes under column B. Line 23, total cash assets. Total all of your January 1st checking, savings, and trust account reconciled balances and enter that total in column A for calendar year and locals. Then you want to total all of your December 31st checking, savings, and trust account reconciled balances and enter that total in column B for calendar year and locals. Our sample locals total cash assets as of January 1st is $1,982 in column A. And the sample locals total cash assets as of December 31st is $4,002 in column B. As you notice, the online form computes this number for you. Remember, line 23, column B total minus line 23, column A total should equal your excess or deficit listed on line 21, page 3. In our sample, line 21 excess is $2,020. Line 23, column B, $4,002 minus line 23, column A, $1,982 is also $2,020. So you have reconciled your increase in cash assets with your excess of receipts over disbursements. Line 24, list your other assets such as furniture or equipment as of January 1st for calendar year and locals in column A. List your other assets as of December 31st for calendar year and locals in column B. Make sure you attach a list of all your other assets. Since our sample local does not have any other assets, line 24 column A and line 24 column B are left blank. Line 25. Line 25 is the total of line 23 and line 24. The total as of January 1st is recorded in column A for calendar year and locals, and the total as of December 31st is recorded in column B for calendar year and locals. Our sample had no entries in line 24, so the totals for line 23 are carried down to line 25. Column A is $1,982 and column B is $4,002. The online form is calculating these numbers for you. Line 26. Line 26 records the total of all outstanding or unpaid bills. Column A records the total of those outstanding or unpaid bills as of January 1st for our calendar year and locals, and column B records the total outstanding or unpaid bills as of December 31st for our calendar year and locals. Make sure you attach a list of all your outstanding or unpaid bills. On line 26, our sample local had $100 in unpaid bills as of January 1st, column A, and $300 in unpaid bills as of December 31st, column B. Line 27. Line 27 records the net assets. Line 25 minus line 26. Column A records the net assets as of January 1st for our calendar year and locals, and column B records the net assets as of December 31st for our calendar year and locals. Our sample local has net assets as of January 1st of $1,882 in column A, and net assets as of December 31st of $3,702 in column B. As you can see, the online form is calculating these numbers for you. After you record your net assets, use the space below to add any additional explanations. In our sample LUFR, the first item under additional explanations is line 22, the sample local's bank branch address. That is 1680 K Street, Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20006. The next item listed under Part 3.4 is Other Receipts. Our first other receipt is $200 for a fundraiser. The second other receipt is $140 for interest. That gives a total of other receipts of $340. The next item listed is Part 319. These are other disbursements. Our total other disbursements are $900, and that was for postage. The final item listed in our sample LUFR under additional explanations is Part 326, unpaid bills. The balance as of December 31st for unpaid bills is $300 for a legal bill. Remember, both the President and Secretary Treasurer should sign and date the report before sending it to AFSCME. On our sample, the President signed the report on April 9th, 2018. The Secretary Treasurer signed the report on April 3rd, 2018. Please print the name and title of the person who completed this report. Our sample report was completed by Alice Snow, and Alice is the Secretary Treasurer. Also, please let us know if the person who completed this report has attended an AFSCME Secretary Treasurer educational workshop within the last 2 years. Alice Snow attended the Secretary Treasurer workshop last year, so she checked the yes box. If you're filing the form electronically, you can scan the signed report and email it to lufr@afscme.org. That's LUAFR at AFSCME, AFSCME.org, O-R-G. You can also mail your completed LUFR to AFSCME International, Attention Auditing Department, 1625 L Street Northwest, Washington, D.C., 20036-5687. Congratulations, you have now completed your 2017 Local Union Annual Financial Report. If you have any questions, please call AFSCME's Auditing Department at 202-429-5033.